All right, today we're going to dive into a story that feels less like history and more like a direct message from the divine. It's the incredible tale of Narsi Mehta from Gujarat, India. And let me tell you, it's a story where faith gets pushed to its absolute breaking point and is then rewarded in a way you just have to hear to believe. Because yeah, at its very core, that's what this is all about. The amazing, almost unbelievable results you can get from pure, unwavering faith. So let's get right into it. So first things first, let's meet the man at the center of it all, Narsi Mehta. Now, this wasn't just some regular guy. He was a saint, a devotee who was completely lost in his love for his lord, Krishna, who he lovingly called Sanwariya Seth. And this slide right here, it perfectly captures the paradox of Narsi Mehta. You see, in the eyes of the world, he was, well, a nobody, a poor, destitute ascetic. But in God's eyes, he was an absolute emperor, rich beyond your wildest dreams, but rich in devotion. He just had zero interest in worldly stuff like money or status. I mean, seriously, his worldly possessions were basically nothing. He had these simple hand symbols, a string of prayer beads, and that's about it. Well, that and an unshakable, Himalayan-sized mountain of faith. He had literally handed over his life's entire account book to Krishna, just trusting that God would handle all the details. And boy, was that belief about to face the ultimate test. The whole conflict of this story really kicks off because of his daughter, Nani Bai, and a serious matter of family honor. Okay, so to get what's happening, you need to understand this ceremony called the Bat. It's a huge deal in Indian tradition, where the mother's side of the family is expected to show up with all these extravagant gifts for their daughter's new in-laws. It's not just about presents. It's a massive public display of your family's honor and standing. The stakes are incredibly high. Now, Nani Bai's in-laws, they were super wealthy and frankly, pretty arrogant. They knew perfectly well that Narsi had nothing, and they saw this as a golden opportunity to publicly humiliate him. So they sent him a list of demands that was really just an insult disguised as a request. And get a load of this list. We're not talking about a few nice things. They demanded piles of gold jewelry, diamonds, pearls, tons of silk saris, even solid gold and silver platters. I mean, this is stuff a king would struggle to come up with. The message was cruel and crystal clear. Show up with this or don't show up at all. So what does Narsi do? Does he panic? Freak out? No. He just calmly takes this impossible list, walks up to the idol of his lord, and places it at its feet. He basically says, "Hey, Sanwariya Seth, this list? It's your problem now, not mine. My daughter's honor, my family's dignity, it's all in your hands." He just completely let it go. So the next day, Narsi heads out to his daughter's village. And what's he traveling with? A beat-up, rickety old bullock cart. That's it. Of course, the villagers are all laughing and mocking him, but Narsi doesn't even pay attention to them. He's just looking for his lord. And then, just as he gets to the edge of the village, the one thing you expect to happen, happens. The wheel on his cart breaks. It's over. He's stranded with nothing, facing complete and total humiliation. From any normal perspective, this was an epic fail. So, is that it? Is this the end of the line for Narsi? No way. Not even close. Because right at that moment of total despair, something absolutely miraculous starts to unfold. First, there's a huge cloud of dust on the horizon. Then comes the sound of drums and the divine blast of conch shells. And as the dust starts to clear, they see a breathtaking, gold-studded chariot, followed by hundreds of other carts just overflowing with treasures. And who steps down from this incredible chariot? A radiant, impossibly wealthy merchant, along with his accountant. And this, of course, was no ordinary businessman. It was Sanwariya Seth, Lord Krishna himself, in disguise, showing up to save his friend's honor. And this is where we see the amazing victory of pure devotion. The divine merchant walks right up to Narsi, embraces him, and says, "My friend, you called for us. How could we not come?" And then the most magnificent Bradha ceremony anyone had ever laid eyes on began. And get this, Krishna didn't even glance at the in-laws' petty little list. The gifts he brought were 100 times more lavish than anything they had demanded. Mountains of silk, heaps of jewels, platters of pure gold. It was a display of wealth so incredible, it was just beyond human comprehension. The in-laws' arrogance was absolutely shattered. Completely humbled, they went up to Narsi and asked, "Who is this magnificent relative of yours?" And Narsi, with tears of pure love in his eyes, just replied, "This is my Sanwariya Seth. Whenever I am in trouble, whenever my honor is on the line, my lord, my friend, he comes running." And this story just perfectly illustrates its core teaching, which comes straight from a promise in the Bhagavad Gita. The line is, Yoga Kshamam Wahamyaham. And what it means is basically this. For those who are completely devoted, who think of nothing else, I personally carry their burdens. I take care of what they need, and I make sure they're protected. So the ultimate point here is pretty powerful. The story of Narsi Mehta teaches us that when you can completely surrender your ego, your worries, your whole life to the divine, then the divine itself steps in and takes on all of your burdens. Your problems are no longer just your own. You know, Narsi Mehta's story isn't just about a miracle. It's a powerful look at an incredible principle that sometimes true strength isn't found in struggling and fighting, but in surrender. And it leaves us with a fascinating question. In a world that is obsessed with control, what kind of power could we unlock if we just learned how to let go?